If I personally were in the market for a truck camper that was fairly simple, kind of more on the getting started end of things, but I wanted it to have all the features I need to camp very comfortably, well, to tell you the truth, this NorthStar 850SC would be on my short list, and we're gonna go through it, let you tour it, see if it would work for you. I'm certain it would work for me. Let's check it out. There was a time back in 2017 when I was just a wee thing and I started my career at Princess Craft RV, and I saw NorthStar truck campers in the mix of truck campers that we offered, and they were always just a nice looking build. And I asked PJ about it and the techs, and they said, yeah, it's a good way to get started in truck camping, and they are a good quality build. You can get so many adventures out of them. So I thought we'd look at this one. Now, you will notice that it is a soft side pop-up. That's great because it makes it a little bit more aerodynamic for your travels. It also keeps that center of gravity a little bit lower. So it has a few things going for it that make it easier to find even a truck to haul it. Now, this does still need a full-size truck. There are some half-ton pickup trucks that could technically carry it, and that is up to you as the shopper and the owner to find out if your truck has that sort of cargo carrying capacity. Though it is recommended that you look in the full-size trucks. I'm talking about 3/4 ton on up. Now, from a size and fitment standpoint, there are a few different versions of this truck camper that make it possible that you could fit it in a standard short bed, not the super short bed. My personal truck has a 5.5 foot bed. That's more than the super short. I would not be able to carry this truck camper. If you have a 6.5 foot bed, there's a version of this truck camper that works beautifully. This version. There are also versions that can work for either a short bed or a long bed, and they have removable wings, so you can make room for that long bed. Or there's a version of the 850SC that is just, it already has this removed, so it's designed to go super easy without removing the wings for a long bed pickup truck. Certainly you could still put that version in a short 6.5 foot bed, but it's just that you don't have the ability to convert it. So take a look at the options on the lot and in inventory wherever you are, or even order one to configure it exactly the way you want. Other than that, I think it's time that we get inside this truck camper and see what it's all about from the inside and how you might camp in it. Let's go. We are now inside the truck camper, and obviously it's raised up. Do I look a little bit crouched down to you? I do, but that's fairly typical in the cab-over sleeping portion of the truck camper. Are you typically sitting up for all that long straight up in a truck camper cab-over? Not typically. Usually you're laying down. So let me just tell you, this mattress, as crinkly as the cover is, this mattress is a true 60 by 80. I had that backwards because 60 foot long by 80. You know that to be a true queen size bed. All right, so actually when you're laying down, this is a lot of headroom. Good for rolling over, whatever you need to do. Lights all throughout, and they are all individually switched. And one thing I love about this is the fact that I have these windows all the way around in the sleeping area. It is, you hear this phrase so much, it feels so open. Well, this is being a tent canvas side camper, it is really open. Very comfortable, and there's storage on both sides with these locking knobs. It's about 8 inches deep, and it runs the whole way through. So it's a long storage with 2 openings on top, and you find that on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and come forward and come down. We're going to talk about this canvas a little bit. This is not your standard canvas. There are a lot of really great canvases out there for outdoor purposes, and they work great. This is something else. I don't know if I'll be able to demonstrate to you how thick this is. It's almost like a double ply of this vinyl, and then on the inside is an insulative layer. It is thick. If you get your hands on this, you'll go, that's something else. It is a heavy duty canvas, and it is meant to help you to camp longer into the cold season and keep it more comfortable in the hot season. Granted, if you're able to run the air conditioner. So another thing about these windows is this is a window screen. All the windows that open, they have a screen, but they also have a solid portion, and you'll notice that it's tinted. So you could just zip that up. You could halfway zip it if you wanted some coverage and some airflow. You have many options. Very tent-like, but much heavier duty than you might be used to. So we've covered the bed area, we've covered the canvas, we've covered the windows. Right above me is an air conditioner, and it is more than enough for this space, I would say. Pretty excellent. A little bit of storage. Now let's pull up here. What? Who saw that coming? Notice that that storage goes all the way up. So if you're an outdoorsman and you have your fly rods or other implements with you, this is a great place to keep some of those longer accessories for your trips. And it's on props, so it's easy to raise and lower. You have some storage here and also here. Not quite as deep. You may have noticed that button latch. I do like those. They get out of the way. They don't hang you up while you're camping. And it's not very deep. We're talking about maybe 6 inches, but it is, take a look at that, through storage. Okay? So again, configure it as you will. I'm sitting down here and you'll see a little window here, and that is really mostly for window purposes, but if you need some airflow, and I say mostly for window purposes, I mean just a way to bring light in, but if you need some airflow, it does actually open in like this. I suppose if you needed an egress for some reason, you could go diving through there if you're slippery enough. I wouldn't expect to be able to reach through your truck cab. Way back in the day, it was more likely that that window would align with the window on the back of your truck cab. It's really hit or miss these days. The way they design windows for truck cabs is not quite the same as they once did, and this window probably won't perfectly align. Maybe it will. Try it out. Let's look at this dinette. You have a real nice solid table here. It has a nice look to it. Nice wood. It's finished all the way around. Every single edge is finished, and I actually don't see any seams, at least not at this point. So not really inviting water intrusion on it, but take a look at what it can do. It is on a lagoon table system mount, which I love because it's so positionable. Let's say if you want it in a certain position for cooking, or if you need more room on one side versus the other, it is fantastic. And it can be operated, you can raise it or lower it just by moving this pole down here. See how these handles and clamps work? Here we go. We're just going to lift it off. Almost. There we go. And you'll see how the system works. Fantastic system. You can take it apart in pieces so you can store it away. And this part here can become the extra sleeping area. Now, I do have the measurements, and I'm not really good at memorizing or speaking. I'm not good at memorizing measurements, but I do have them. I will put all these measurements and weights and capacities into the video description below in your video player. So do look there, and you're gonna find the actual length and width of this extra bed. I know that I saw it while I was doing research, just can't remember it. Okay, so that fits there. There is an extra cushion. I personally, if I knew that I wasn't going to be having a guest, I wouldn't bring the extra cushion, just another thing to take up space. But if I were bringing a guest, this is a pretty good size bed. Lots of places you can store that extra leg for the lagoon table. Now, knowing I'm not likely to fit, I'm going to lay down on this so you have an idea of what a 6'4" person might fit like on here. Okay, here we go. Okay, my knees are bent and I'm up against it. I would say if you were more in the below 6 foot range, you would be all right, which means most average people would do perfectly fine. And I will say laying down, it was comfortable enough. So for me, I would be head up against the headboard, or I might even put my headboard over here because it's got a padded back. Head under here. I'm not sure how many of you are old enough to remember MTV and the Headbangers Ball. That's what that reminds me of. But maybe I'll put my head over here, it'd be perfect. Okay, let's look over this way. All right, so a few things that I want you to kind of catch on to under here is you have a switch to raise and lower the roof. That's right, it's way up in here. It is easy to do. I've done it before. Obviously, it's set up right now. And so what you do is you just come in, because the roof is still about this high. You just kind of crawl your way in and raise and lower. It is on electric jacks. It's really quick. It is dialed in. You also have a water heater switch right here. And you have your battery disconnect, and you can make sure it's totally disconnected by pulling the pin. Turn that back on. We have your converter. This is a WIFCO converter, and it has auto detect, meaning that pretty much any marine, RV marine style or lithium battery that is designed to work in a camper, you connect it, and this unit is going to automatically switch over to the correct way of charging and maintaining your battery. Pretty cool. Your breakers are here and your fuses for the 12-volt system, and then right above the auto detect converter is your solar charge controller. And that'll just make sure that the 175 watts of solar that's on top of the roof of this camper is sending in the right amount of electricity into the battery at the right rate and the right strength to properly charge your battery system. You also have a USB-A and USB-C type USB port right here for charging incidentals in this little space right here if you want to. Right across from me is the 3.5 cubic foot 12-volt compressor style refrigerator, and it does have a pull-down small freezer for just a few of the niceties that you might want to bring along. Now, I might have some trouble showing you this, but let me go ahead and try. Underneath this bin, let me see, me sitting where I am doesn't help. But you'll notice there's quite a bit of space down here. And this is a water tank, and then you have space for your batteries. Now, they do say that you have to have AGM or lithium batteries in this space because it is not vented to the outside. So you need a sealed type battery in there. You have access to a water pump and the distributor for the outside jacks. So a pretty understandable space. There is some room for some storage down there should you need it. I would just be mindful of what you're putting down there to make sure that you aren't crimping any hoses or wire or any other equipment like that. Now, a little hidden feature here, maybe not terribly hidden, but right here is a little bit more storage and a mirror. So here's your vanity, so you can make sure you look good for the squirrels and the skunks. I digress. And smoke detector. Down below the dinette near my shin right here is the carbon monoxide and propane detector to keep you safe, because propane is a little bit heavier than air, and so it tends to drop near the floor. Safety features right there. Let's look at the kitchen space, and you're going to find a pretty nice looking faucet, hot and cold, right on it. And this is a flip up glass top sink, and they always package in a few of these things to get all kinds of functionality. You got cutting board top that fits on top of the sink. This whole bucket is sealable. So let's say that you are done with your trip, or you just want to take the whole works outside, lift it out, and you can take that. So it's a great way to pack. It's a great way to use the system, and you have your metal sink, fairly large. For this size camper, fairly large. It is metal. It is not undermount, but it has this nice seal around it. And let me go ahead and put that away. You noticed how the faucet turned out of the way. Makes it easy to access that whole works. All right, so I moved over a little bit. You have a 2-burner stove here with a flip-up glass top. And that's a light button, and then, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Your furnace outlet, and I'm gonna put that down. For the size camper, it's not a bad amount of counter space. a little bit of storage here below, and I'm going to run through all the storage here in the kitchen. That drawer just showed you another one. You'll notice that the base is finished out and it's very smooth and easy to wipe down and clean. And then we have cabinets down below. And I'll show you some B-roll of that. Now, right here is actually the back of the hot water heater. So right under this area of the cabinetry, hot water heater, and there's some storage off to the right. I always appreciate the style latch. Some more shelving here, but it is not that deep. This is almost like spice storage. It's about 4 or 5 inches deep, and then it runs all the way across 2 levels. I'm going to back up, and another not so deep area. Remember that this is fitting in your truck bed, so they're having to work within the constraints of the truck bed before you get to the wheel wells and then the overhang over both sides. So standing back up, you got some outlets here and some storage here. Now this storage will go all the way back to this wall. So we're talking, well, a little over 2 feet is my estimation, and it's about 2.5, almost 3 foot tall. So a good amount of space. You have your fire extinguisher, and then what do we have on this side? Well, you have a shower toilet combo. So this is a wet bath, and there is a shower surround that you hang up here from the hooks so you can enclose this. Has a light, has the sun roof or the skylight, and a little latchable door. And this is a cassette toilet right here, and that's easy to use. We'll go over its use on the outside. And then a little wand for showering. And the base of this, let's say you know that, I mean, it's your morning or evening shower, or you just came in from a hike. You take this base out of the floor, and that gives you a little bit more room, but also gives you a more purpose-designed shower pan for the water to be caught and to run into and into the gray tank down below. But after you shower, you put on some socks to keep your toes warm, and you don't want them to get wet next time you visit the lavatory. So you set this down. There's a little notch here so you know which way it goes. And there we go. And now you've covered up that little shower pan, and you can keep your socks and your feet dry next time you go in there. Pretty handy. I'm going to show you one more cabinet down below. I'm going to step outside to show it to you. And this is a little bit of storage, but it's also the plumbing that goes to that shower fixture on this corner back in there. And then there's some plumbing coming from the Thetford. But other than that, this can be used for some storage right there. Pretty simple stuff. I do believe that there's one thing in particular that I forgot to show you, and that is this acrylic window. Now it's cool because it does have a screen on it and a blackout shade, which you can connect in the middle, so you can have a little bit more privacy and a little bit of airflow. You have your options, but there's a few nice things about these acrylic windows that go beyond just transmitting light and protecting from the outdoors. They are dual pane, so they have the ability to keep you a little bit warmer or cooler depending on what you want. And you'll notice with those clicks, they're very positionable. And they open up awning style, so let's say you are in a situation where you do have some precipitation coming down. Now if you have a very windy situation, and that precipitation is coming from the side, you may still have some come in. But if it's coming pretty much down, you can open it up, get the breeze, if there's a slight breeze, keep the water out, and still hear that really fantastic outdoor rain that we so love when we're outside. I really like them for that matter. Now you'll notice on these latches that there's a little notch in the middle. What that's for is if you're in a situation where you need a little bit of airflow in through this window edge, but you don't want that window really open, instead of latching it all the way, you can go in between that notch all the way around. And what it'll do, and I didn't do those two, but it's the same thing. It allows for a little bit of an air gap right there outside of the seal. Good for airflow into or out of the camper without having that window really open, and it'll be pretty secure. However, I wouldn't call it secure enough to travel. You do want to make sure that these are completely latched all the way in to really compress that seal and keep any wind from getting underneath that while you're driving. It's a way to protect your window, protect yourself, and other than that, what an incredible window system for this camper. I still really like this, and just look at the colors. It's kind of a lighter color, which makes it feel a little bit more open, along with the windows, the cross breeze, and the fact that in this main area, I'm 6'4", and let's see if we got this. All right, follow me up. Here we go. It's 6'8" to the highest. No, it's 6'8" in here. I have enough room underneath this air conditioner that I am not having any problem. I'm wearing my shoes today, so I'm up here. It'll work for most, if not everybody, unless you're planning to sleep there, in which case it'll still work for most, just not really anyone over 6 foot tall. Unless you fold on the dotted lines, in which case, your uncle's Bob. Bob's your uncle. All right, now I did have to duck that door a little bit because it is lower, because the roof lowers, right? Instead of raise the roof, it's lower the roof. I digress. I say that too often too. It is a fantastically thick wall panel, and you'll notice that this door has everything you might need from a standard door. You have a screen, closes, and it's a solid door. Maybe I should show you the thickness of this. It is a thick panel all the way around. Good insulation in these NorthStar campers. Lightweight, strong, rigid, but also well done. Good solid close on those as well. So they use good components. Now, you do have an outlet right here for your gray tank, but not for your black tank. Again, I'll have those capacities in the video description below. Your black tank is separate. Here's the back side of that cassette toilet. And let me run through the operation. When you're setting out for your trip, you'll want some flushing water. So you'll add water, fresh water, to this little reservoir here, and that'll be used for flushing. I believe it's something like 4 gallons. And then you'll go out camping. You'll use the toilet as per usual. And then when it is time to dump that tank, the whole black tank removes. You may have heard while I was pulling this out, another click involved, and that was this flap, this that covers the valve and closes it off. So the valve is already closed, okay? This valve, the flush valve, was already closed, so you're already not looking into the tank as it was, and this also closes on top of it. So there you go. And you can take this to a vault toilet, the campground toilet, or to a dump station, and you'll dump it through here. Pretty easy to do. You can roll it if you have a distance to go. And then when you get there, what you'll do, come down with me if you don't mind. You will have a cap on here. This has never been used. The cap has never been set up on it. You'll rotate this down, and you will pour it into that vault toilet or into the inlet of the dump station. But I want to help you out a little bit. There's a button right here. We all know what happens whenever you turn a closed bottle or something upside down and it starts glugging and splattering and splashing. You don't want that when dumping this. So what you'll do is you'll introduce an opportunity for air to get into this side while the contents flows out that side by pushing that button. So you just get lined up, tilt, let it all out, finish, put your cap back on, and this is just an accessory, and take it back to your camper. And while it's in this condition, you have options. You can put, while it's open in the front or what have you, you could put your toilet treatment in this way, and that is perfectly fine. Or you can go ahead and install this right back in, slide in. You're going to hear this click open. And then just from the top of the toilet inside, you can open the flush valve and drop your toilet treatment in there. And you are set to go. The nice thing is, again, you can see how thick this is. They do a great job of sealing these cabinet doors, and they are solid, and it's lockable because you never know what kind of gremlins are after your poo. Right before I leave this area, there is a light in the back for you to use if you're having to use the dump valves and all that at night at your campsite. And behind this little door is a hot and cold spray port that you can connect a detachable spray hose, which does come with the camper, to it. So you could have that hot and cold spray, shower, what have you, right here outside. So there you go. Now I'm gonna cruise around here, and you're gonna see that this is where the propane tank is. Now it is one single 5-gallon or 20-pound propane tank, and it is the type that you can fill up or exchange in so many places. It is not lockable because by law you have to be able to get in there to turn the valve off if a situation should arise. Coming around, electric jacks all the way around, and outlets, a little bit of storage right there. It's finished out. Now this is one of those areas that, depending on how the 850SC is configured, the one that you're looking at or the one that you might be ordering, this little winglet right here might exist or might not. So this one is set up currently to fit beautifully on a short foot, a 6 foot to 6 foot 10-inch bed, so a short bed. However, if you needed that extra space, you will lose this cabinet and you would lose that. So you have options with this camper. Talk to your salesperson about what they have on hand or what they might order for you to make this camper work for you, your truck, your travels, and your needs. Exhaust port for heater, and then this is the back of your water heater. Remember that was underneath the kitchen counter, underneath and between the stove and the sink. A light to do your work outside, backside of the refrigerator, and access to one of the jacks for raising and lowering the roof. All right, this is your 30 amp inlet. Now, this is not a typical connection we have. This is our portable power box that we use for these videos. You will have a standard cord for that and for plugging into shore power situations. So you see nothing. All right, coming around here, there's not much to talk about here except for it is a clean build. It's a good looking unit, really. You have bumpers on the front for whenever you're loading your truck camper. I still love this fantastic canvas. It's designed for cold environments. You could really go places with this and not be caught off guard should a cold snap come your way. I do like that it has the electric jacks to raise the roof. That keeps it simple. And there is 175 watts of solar on there. There are some options from NorthStar. I'll have them listed down below. One of the options is to upgrade your solar from one 175 watt panel to 2. And really, you have a lot of opportunities to configure this and make it do what you want it to do for the places you and possibly your family and friends want to go. It still makes my short list. If I were getting into truck campers to see what it was like and maybe get quite a few years down the road to some remote places, maybe for fly fishing and whatnot, this is on my personal short list of things that I would check out because they just work. They're nice campers and they just do the truck camper thing well. I'm Clint from Princess Craft, and you can check out all the details in the show notes, and you can contact us with any questions. Our sales team would love to give you even deeper details on the units that we have on hand, or they can help you configure one for yourself. So we'll be here for you for that. In the meantime, it's been a pleasure showing this to you. I'll see you next time.